This is a HeadGum podcast.
Jonathan Braylock, James III, Jerah Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can't jump.
Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hollywood City.
Blah, 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 blah.
James, we go through this. Actually, that fits this movie.
Fits this movie a little bit.
It is somewhat appropriate.
Fits this movie
I
a
don't
little
like
bit.
that you do it.
I
but
don't
it's
either.
Appropriate for this.
Is that appropriation? Am I appropriating?
Gunshot. Well, you're
No,
black,
you're black, dude.
So I
wait, damn it, no.
Oh, wait, is that no?
Gunshots is that a black thing? What are we doing?
Well, he said. Well, the way he's saying it is kind of.
You're right. It is
The way
kinda.
he's saying
It's
it
like
is
a
kind
gangster
of.
thing.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to be excited.
Guys, we are reviewing the film Dope.
Everyone kept asking. I bet people been asking us to do this movie for months.
Yeah, there was a point when it made sense to do it, and we were like, we
There
can't.
were so many different times. Like when it first came out, we were like, we should do it. Then we were like, we took too long. And I don't know if anybody saw it because the film only made just shy of $18 million at the box office.
And you know what?
know.
Had we done it earlier, maybe we would have bumped that up.
All right. I wish that would have impact.
That's the power that Black Men Can't Jump has.
I mean, look, it's on Netflix, so hopefully everybody should be watching.
Right, you
this
gotta
thing.
watch.
But then when it first came out on Netflix, we were like, all right, now we should do it. And I don't know why we
didn't do it.
I guess because the Oscar stuff was happening. And then, yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're doing it now.
We're doing it now.
I mean, almost what's so funny about this movie, almost everybody is kind of like on the bubble right now. Shameik Moore is now on the Get Down, coming out on Netflix in August.
Yeah.
Who else? I mean, A$AP Rocky is A$AP Rocky.
It's A$AP
I
Rocky.
mean, he was always.
You know,
It was always A$AP Rocky.
Shameik Moore is the star of this film, by the way. Plays
Yes.
the character Malcolm.
and Kiersey Clemens is now
Kiersey
in
Clemens is
Neighbors
gonna be in
2.
Neighbors 2, yeah. Coming
And
up.
where?
I mean, Zoe Kravitz has been rocking it, but she was in Mad Max that same year. She's coming out. She's going to be in, what's that movie?
she has an indie out, but what the one thing Zoe is doing is
No, but
Zoe's
she's another
saying,
big- oh, the Divergent series, I think.
yeah,
she's in that.
She's in that, but she's like speaking out now. Like she actually is talking about, you know, serious diversity issues. How she brought up that she wasn't even allowed to audition
Right.
for The Dark Knight Returns because they said they didn't want the character to be urban.
Right.
And if you know
Which
Zoe,
Catwoman?
not Catwoman, Catwoman's friend. What is her name in the comics?
Woman has a friend?
Yeah, it's like she has a bigger role in the comics, but in the movie, it was like she was in there for just like one scene when you see her at home and like she helps her out.
But you know what, though? She would have been really urban.
The thing about
Well,
Zoe
to
Kravitz,
be fair, The Dark Knight Returns is set in a white suburban town.
Right,
in the
yeah.
middle of
It's
America.
in the middle of the
Yeah.
suburbs, and it's
I
really
believe-
important that nobody is urban in it.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Did you ever hear
Gotham
this?
City is Gotham.
Yeah, Gotham is Gotham.
Gotham
and
is like
there's a
it's very, very non-urban. It's like
yeah, it's not a diverse
it's not a
city.
city
It's not a diverse
filled
city.
with crime.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. People don't call, you know, New York Gotham City because of its, you know, high buildings and diverse population. You know,
Yeah,
and the thing is, if you think about Zoe Kravitz is like a rocker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She is literally the least, which is funny that she's in this movie playing a hood person. She isn't hood at all. She is like very like rockery, which is
Hey.
great.
Hey,
What?
What's up, Zoe Kravitz?
Hey, Zoe.
Wait, did you just
Yo, I'm
Did you
surprised
just
that
interrupt?
Braylock did that. Oh my God.
we're trying to celebrate her just in the middle of
For
it.
the record, that was not me.
That
John
was
Milligan.
Jonathan Braylock.
That was Jonathan Braylock.
during our celebration of Zoe Kravitz.
I'm just saying what's up.
You know what?
I mean, no, I don't know.
I'm just saying what's up.
Nah, man. Nah, man. You took a moment. You got quiet.
when have you ever said what's up to anybody we have been discussing?
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
All right, are we going to talk about this movie?
Yeah, but
or
also
what?
we gotta give a shout out to. I'm so mad. I can mispronounce his last name.
give it out.
Jib, Tony Rivoli. He was in
he was in
Kingdom. Not Kingdom.
No, not Moonrise Kingdom.
The hotel.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
But he's also now
So
cast in
funny in
Spider-Man.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh yeah,
He's in a new Spider-Man
which
now.
is dope.
He's one of his friends. We don't know what character he is, but he's in Spider-Man now, which is super dope. Good for you, bro.
I wish that.
I mean, the cast of this movie is really great. What's that?
yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just because like enough. You know what I mean? Like John Braylock already starred in Spider-Man 2. It's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, John Braylock starred in
True.
Spider-Man 2. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Just go back and watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and just revel in how
Yeah. Riveting the performance.
amazing performance
Yeah,
from
you
Jonathan
don't
Braylock
blink.
in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I mean, he does the single tear, and it's magical.
It's a magical single too.
Yo, I can't wait to talk about this
All right,
movie.
we
This
gotta talk
movie
about
is
dope.
so oh, damn it.
This movie is
I can't even
so
say this movie's so dope because
Okay.
it's dope.
Okay. So what else do we need to say? 86% of Rotten Tomatoes it didn't really get any love, zero love from the Academy. Academy, famously.
Sundance.
I mean,
it got some love from Sundance.
Got some Sundance
It got some
love.
Sundance love, which
But,
is,
Yeah, in my opinion, and I don't. So you want to do initial thoughts?
Hope
Well, wait, we should just say what the movie is.
Tell 'em what it is.
Right. Sorry. So Dope is the story of a high school kid who lives in Inglewood, lost in suburb of Los Angeles.
Black nerd.
He's a black nerd. He's into 90s hip hop and 90s just nostalgia, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's got two friends, and they have a little band. And basically, he gets tangled up in a drug scheme.
Yeah, he's got to get out.
So, he accidentally picks up a bag. Actually, not accidentally. They put the drugs in the bag.
They put the drugs in the bag, and he doesn't know that the drugs and a gun.
He realizes it's there. Then all of a sudden, there are people after him trying to get the drugs. And then, if you haven't seen the movie, you should go watch it. But here's where spoilers are coming in. So, just know that's about to happen. Basically, he gets to a place where he gets to the drugs to the person who he thinks will end his journey, but that person's like, nah, you got to sell those drugs.
Now you got to sell.
And so then he
these
has to sell the drugs, and then that's about it.
Then he has to figure out his life,
drugs. Yeah,
Yo, this movie, man.
it's a great movie. It's a dope movie.
And it's a comedy. Even though all of that stuff sounds somewhat serious, they managed to very much keep it a comedy. And okay, I'm doing initial thoughts.
Go ahead,
yeah,
bro.
go ahead.
So the reason that I love this movie, the reason I actually, and I'm not being what do you call it? I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating at all. This was my favorite movie of 2015.
I can agree with that.
Dope.
And the reason being is because one, it is first and foremost hilarious. So funny. So many amazing funny moments. Two, the acting is incredible. Then the writing is also incredible, and so is the direction. And the editing.
Oh
editing,
yeah,
when I was watching
that's
this again,
it won editing Sundance.
The editing is.
Did it?
Yeah,
It should have.
It should've.
The editing is amazing, and then it manages to speak to issues that matter and touch on the concepts of race in a way that is both important but also not preachy. Save maybe the final moment of the film, but it's done in a way that is just it kind of disguises how much it's really subverting expectations and fleshing out characters. And yeah, it's just like it's so I can talk on and on about it, but it's like I was blown away when I first saw it, and then when I watched it again for this, I was like, oh my god, like this movie is so good, and it's a crime that it didn't get I mean, like, I wish more people knew about it.
yeah.
It's so good. Okay, that's my.
I mean, I thought this movie was great as well. I saw this movie 2 times in theaters when it came out. I mean, the thing about this movie that's so cool, though, is this movie takes, like, this kid from the projects. They show you that he's smart. They show you that he's still in the projects and he's kind of nerdy and what he has to deal with while dealing with bangers, but it never paints the bangers as horrible people. Like, for instance, even his run-ins with the Bloods who, like, steal his shoes, and Keith Stanford, who's the guy who plays him, Bug, I felt sorry for his character at one point in the movie, and I'm like, that is true emotion. Like, A$AP Rocky, and I usually hate rappers in movies, but A$AP Rocky was so charming, and, like, even his character, I just couldn't hate on. It was like, this dude was, he cared about this kid a little bit. He still was kind of a dick, but he still cared about this geeky kid. I mean, the female characters were great. I mean, Diggy, I can't think of the last time I've seen a black lesbian in a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And she was so cool. Like, she was so dope. Like, she loved the same shit that everyone else loved. But then also she had moments where they touched on religion, like, especially in the black community.
Yeah.
And how they were trying to save her, and she's like, you know what? It might have worked. I saw Justin Bieber. I got a little moist. And, like, that stuff is funny. I mean, even Zoe Kravitz, who plays, like, the love of the movie, didn't take any shit from either dude. She didn't want one of those niggas. and she was studying. Like she was studying up, trying to get her GED, which I was like, good for you, sister. Like that stuff was so cool to me. The fact that he had an Indian best friend as well. And they even touched on the fact of how he can say the N-word, but the white drug dealer couldn't.
Right, we didn't talk about
was it Blake? Was it Blake?
Blake Anderson.
Blake
Anderson
from Workaholics.
Yeah, I mean
funny.
that was great. And then also this movie, the one thing I loved is that this was like I grew up watching hood movies, so I remember watching The Wood, and Officer Stacy that's in this movie was in this movie The Wood as the Blood, and who used to beat up the kids who are the geeky kids, used to beat them up, and like in this movie he's protecting them now. And he even says at one point, "I grew up with your parents." Ask him about Stacy.
Ask about Stacy.
It's like it's so like to me that detail is so
is that
crazy.
A call?
It's a callback to his character
to
in
The
Dope.
Wood.
His character in
The
Dope
Wood?
in The Wood is named Stacy.
Yeah.
Like he's her blood.
He is that.
He is that exact dude. He's a blood who beats up the geeky dudes, but then like takes care of him in the end. And in this movie, he's protecting him. Ask him about state like. And then hold on, last thing. Shout out to Forrest Whitaker because Forrest Whitaker on the low. And I don't know how many. I know we were talking about like how many black people give back. I don't know how many other actors and people help get movies made. But Forrest Whitaker at this point helped get Fruitvale Station. Dear White People, like I mean, Dope. Like he's
production company.
Yeah, he's producing them. Like he's the one who helped everyone in Sundance. Like shout out to him. So I just love this movie. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, I love this movie too. I didn't see it when it was in theaters. The first time I saw it was a few months ago on Netflix, and I'm a big fan of. I'm a huge nostalgia guy. Like anything that like calls back to stuff, I love it. So like the music and the just sort of like the nostalgia factor there is like really got me. I love the way that specifically the way that they use the music to like score moments and the like changes in the music affect changes in the storytelling, which I thought was like that stuff is like really cool. I love that it's like a really simple story and like it's never like they're forcing anything, or it's never like they're trying too hard. It's just like we're just like following these people on this journey that's like out of their hands. So like I mean, I think the movie's dope.
Why do you think you didn't see it in theaters?
I mean, the only movies that I see in theaters now are like
Terrible movies.
Okay, you could say that, but like the only movies that I see in theaters are like superhero movies and like movies that are like movies that need to be seen on the big screen.
Did you?
Yeah, no, because we were talking about going. We almost went to see it together. So like just like no. I just didn't see it because like the types of movies that I go to see in the theater are like those big spectacle movies.
And it was.
I mean, that's literally just the time when I go to the theater. That's what I go to see.
Did you see Concussion in theaters?
I did, but I saw it because I got free tickets. Remember we already talked.
Yeah, but I don't think this movie was wide released. I remember I had to see it at
we could go
it
see it.
I had to see it at like a special. I had to see it at like one of those like. Not special theaters, one of those like indie theaters when it came out.
Oh, I saw it. I got to saw it at Regal Cinemas.
Yeah,
it wasn't a huge. I don't think it was as wide released as like, Jurassic World was, but I think it came out in enough. I think people around the nation could see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So, where should we start?
I don't know. We can go through the movie.
I mean, can we just talk about Shameik Moore? And the thing about what I think the audience should know is sometimes I know I personally hate on like YouTubers and like social media people getting in films.
Right.
So I know people know, but Shameik Moore started as one of those. Like
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was actually discovered because he used to like he sings, he raps, he dances. He does comedy.
Oh, he dances at the end of this movie.
Oh, and he goes in. And he goes in.
I was just watching him. I was like,
great.
Damn, he's so good at it.
No,
he's going
great.
in. So he technically was discovered by Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon put him like Nick Cannon at one point had SNL kind of show on Nickelodeon or whatever. And Shameik was on that show.
Or Cartoon Network, right?
No, it was Nickelodeon. Teen Nick, sorry.
Teen Nick.
Because that's who Nick runs, Teen Nick. So he was on that show. And he apparently, which I think is something like a lot of actors do, but like it worked for him. He like kept emailing. I gotta look it up. He kept like sending letters and emailing like some particular artists. And they like helped him out. And I feel like that is such a cool thing. And the fact that he was there were moments in this movie where you could see the fear he had and like the nervousness. Like when he's at one point when he's trying to measure out the dope in the science room for the first time, his hands are just so shaky. Yeah, it's like you saw fear. You saw his love and like Zoe's character. It was like just
there's something like very compelling about him and his performance in this. That's like where it's like
very natural.
It's very natural. It's like very natural, and like you sort of believe. It's that thing of like where you could put a camera on him, and so long as you know the scenario, you can like see that whole world happening.
He's geeky but not weak.
Because he also has, to me, he's kind of like an Elijah Wood. Like Elijah Wood when he was a younger actor, like they don't have to say much.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in their facial expressions and their their movements. Like the film literally ends with him like getting it. You don't even. Oh my god, this movie is one of the things that I love about this movie is that it believes that its audience is smart.
Yes.
And it doesn't try to dumb anything down. Like, one of the things I hate so much about movies, it's like a small pet peeve, but like when they show college acceptance letters or rejection letters, they always show like the college letter and like the same, like,
and then you have to like
regular 8x11 or not 8x11, that envelope size where it's like, no. When you get an acceptance letter to a college, it comes into like this huge thing. Yeah. And so you see the huge thing, and then they're like, just in case somebody's watching this who's never gotten one of these, I'm going to open it up. I'm not going to be like, Mom, I got accepted. He opens it up, he looks at it, and then he's kind of like, something washes over him, and he just looks at the camera, like kind of gives this little, just the smallest of like smiles, and it cuts out, and I was like, that, like, it's so minute, but there's so much in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this big, like, oh my God, about it. You know, it's not like presentational. It's just like everything's happening in him, and he's just like, yeah.
I mean, even the part where we're skipping around. Like even the part where the blood takes, like it's one part he gets money. I'm trying to remember his name. And the blood.
Oh, you want to talk about that part?
Yeah, and the guy who's been teasing him trying to take his shoes steals his bag full of money, and he pulls out a gun on this guy. And the thing is, normally you don't feel bad for the bully, right? Yeah. This moment, I felt bad for everyone in the scene. I felt bad for the drug dealer. I mean, for the gangster. I felt bad for him. I felt bad for his friends witnessing the emotion that his friend is so desperate. He pulled this gun out, and he's like, it's a slow cry too. It's like it's like a real cry. You see it slowly build up. You see his eyes turn red, and it's just
right.
I mean, to talk about that moment, that's one of the strongest. Like one of the strongest scenes in the movie, and one of the most powerful messages I think the movie has. Right, where in the beginning, you know, we see that he talks about who he is. You know, I'm a geek. You know, and I live in this neighborhood, and like there are only certain things. You know, on a worst day, you know, like I'm just gonna get into a fight. On the worst day, I'm gonna get beat up by somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this idea that like, you know, he has a path that he will always be on, and it will never change, right? Then there's this moment where he is pulling a gun on someone because they've taken his drug money that he has worked so hard to, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like he's not in this gang, but this gang like also like only just wants to take stuff from him. They don't want to hurt him. They don't want to, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. But there's like, it's the capitalization of this moment of showing you, and it's one of the things that the film deals with. One of the themes is, you know, most people don't choose this life. Like this life happens to people, mm-hmm. And so basically the film takes this guy who you meet in the beginning. He's so likable. He's so quiet. He's like clearly very intelligent from the beginning of the movie. He's like talking to his mom, and you realize like this is a really smart kid. You know what I mean? He's going places. He's applying to Harvard. Like he'll probably get in. You know what I mean? Like he can make it out of this, you know, and we're rooting for him so much that by the time this moment happens, you're like, wait a minute, how did this kid that we started with get to this point where he's literally pulling a gun on another human being and threatening to shoot them over drug money? Because, like, those are the facts.
Yeah.
He pulled a gun on his classmate, and he's threatening to shoot them over drug money. And it's like, we know all the stuff that led up to that, but the fact of the matter is, in real life, people take snapshots of people. They don't care what your backstory is.
Yeah.
They don't care what all they know is, you have a gun, an illegal gun in your hand, and you got drug money. You know what I mean? And you're willing to shoot somebody over some drug money. And you're like, damn, like, maybe this isn't as simple as we think, when they have the war on drugs, when they have that kind of stuff. It's like,
the war on drugs, oh my God.
But what I'm saying is, it's so easy on a gut level, on like a shallow thinking level to say, what's wrong with the war on drugs? Drugs are bad. People who sell drugs are bad. People who kill people over drugs and money are bad. You know what I mean? It's so easy to just think, yeah, and it's like on a ethereal level that's true. But then it's like, what happens? Like, why do people choose this life? And what if they don't actually choose it? You know what I mean? Like, I think anybody watching this movie would be like, he kind of had no choice, right?
Well, that's the thing that people say all the time. It's like, if you think about rap in particular, almost every rapper will tell you, at least back in the day, that we didn't choose this life, it was given to us. Like, that's the thing people say. And the thing is, this movie touches on the fact that these people in these urban areas, they have humanity. Like, for instance, yes, at the end of the day, this dude is selling drugs, right? And I know how far-fetched it is that, like, you get the drugs in the bag and now you're forced to sell it. Like, yeah. But initially, that guy threatens his family, his mom, and his friends. And it's like, what else can he do?
Right.
What else can this dude do? And the thing that makes it so crazy is at the end of the movie, when he gives his monologue, he tells a story of two students. The straight A student who does nothing wrong, but also the other student who's doing everything he can, but also has his whole other life. And he's like, what's the difference between the two?
Well, yeah, basically he's telling the story. He's telling the two different aspects of himself that are happening that both exist. Both are reality. Mm-hmm. Even though you listen to one and you're like, well, that, and then he's
that's
like,
this person.
That's this person, and this is a different
clearly
person.
that other person.
Because it's it's this way that the way that we think about people, and that's the whole thing. It's like it's so easy to take something like, oh, well, racists see black people and they just think they're X, Y, Z. They're bad. They're like gangsters. They like drugs, blah, blah, all that stuff. And, the fact of the matter is there's so much depth, you know what I mean, to it. Almost more so than people who hear that racist comment or hear somebody who's racist and they're like, oh, I'm not like that person. I know black people are good people. But there are people who are drug dealers who aren't good,
Yeah, and that's the thing where sometimes people always say, like I know it's been said to me, it's like, oh, you're not like one of those people.
Right.
And it's like, technically, I'm from exactly that same place. So there's a scene in this movie that I remember seeing it with a friend, and she's like, oh, that's not real. There's a scene very early on in the movie where he's talking to...
yeah, we were doing this movie back.
I know. It's crazy. It's just so exciting.
Let's try to go.
Yeah.
Start early.
At the very beginning of this movie... Shameik Moore's character is with like his counselor and he's reviewing his paper and saying how he's going to go to Harvard. Or he wants to go to Harvard. And the counselor says like, who you think you are?
Well, because so his essay is the personal essay that he's writing to submit to Harvard is about Ice Cube's. I think it's about the
today is
it's like he's trying to find that good day, right?
Yeah,
or no?
No, it was about it was
just
about
purely about Ice Cube's good day.
Ice Cube's
like
good
how
day.
he feels about the song.
And what he says is of what's the guy who does astrology all the time?
He says if Neil deGrasse Tyson was writing about Ice Cube, this is what
he write.
But the point I want to bring up is that like sometimes that's what schools do though. Like for instance, if you're like a suburban kid or maybe a white kid, or not even a white kid, but if you're like a kid from the suburbs, most likely your school you're going to is trying to help you get to like college and do good stuff. Some of these schools in the hood, these teachers are tired. They're just trying to get you out.
Yeah.
And like that is a straight up reflection of what some of those schools are. Like these schools that close down, these schools that have no money for arts. It's like, why are you doing creative thinking? How dare you think you can do this? We're trying to get you to a community college.
Right.
Like that's literally the thought is going.
But then even his motives though were like as good as that is, you know,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because
that's not what they're looking.
Yeah,
for.
because they're not looking for that.
What they want to hear from you, they're like they don't care about you. They don't care about your freaking Ice Cube bullcrap. What they want to hear is a poor. Because he's like, I could write the fact that I'm like a poor kid, like living in a rough neighborhood and have to deal with the struggles of like gang violence and like I pick myself up and blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, exactly.
But my thing is,
Write that.
What would he do though? Say his character was in the suburbs. Would a teacher tell him? Like, what would the teacher tell him then? Though?
Exactly.
Well, that's
They
something
wouldn't.
out. Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Or
another.
if he's a white kid in this neighborhood, will the teacher still say the same thing to him? No, because people don't care about that.
But what I love though too is that his character, even when it wasn't him, when he's talking to Zoe Kravitz's character, she's like, "I was just trying to get my GED and go to, community college." She's like, "You can probably set your heights higher than that." And it's like, no matter what, like I love the positivity that this kid had. It's like, no matter what, no matter where you are, you can do better than what you expect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even the fact that she's like, she only deals with like the niggas around the way. He's like, you can get better than that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a cool message to have. It's like, this kid, this black kid from a fucked up area still has hope. And I feel like, how often do we see a movie where people like this have hope, man?
Well, the other thing too is it's even more than just that he has hope. It's like what he's trying to do is like, look, you don't have to be as smart as me to set yourself sights higher. Like people look at me and they're like, okay, you are a smart kid here. Like you're one of the kids who will make it, which I'm sure like happens. I know just because I listen to like This American Life and stuff like that. People like talk about, they single out like the kids who are doing really well, and they're like, look, we can't help out everybody, but we can help that dude. You know what I mean? He's the A+ student. All right. And then they tell the A+ student, by the way, though, like, this is the reality of life. People are still going to see you as black, so you need to play into that. Don't be trying to do this other stuff. Like, what pulls at their heartstrings is hearing about a poor black kid from a bad neighborhood getting out. So do that. You know what I mean? And he's like, nah, I just want to be me. Like, I don't want this. I don't want my race to be the defining factor about me.
Yeah, or where you're from too. It's like how
or
often,
where
like it's such one of those things where you're from, how you speak, is almost defining who you are. It's like if you dress a certain way, if you act a certain way, that already gives someone an idea of who you like, just what you represent. Like this dude was from the hood, kind of still spoke with an accent, but was smart. His friends were smart. Like Diggy was smart as hell, the female character, Diggy.
Okay, great. I know, we're like looking at it.
Sorry,
No, I loved that stuff. I loved the early description of like who they are and who he was, you know, like but in thinking about like the way he was behaving, isn't that character the kid who got shot, is his name White Tony?
White Tony.
That's what they call him,
White
right?
Tony.
I wasn't sure if I was hearing that wrong
so
or
White
not.
Tony
but, like,
is a black dude, is a black geek with black rim glasses, and he was playing a Game Boy, and freaking gangsters come in and shoot up the place and kill him. But this whole scene is completely comedic, and it's actually funny. You're literally laughing at a dude getting shot because of gang violence.
Go ahead. You go
No,
ahead. No, it's funny because the thing is that makes it so funny is that the sad part is not that he died, but the fact that he got the highest score. Yeah. And not only that, but he has this crazy comic book collection that no one can get to now. It's so sad, but it's like what are the comic books going to do? They're going to go to waste.
They're just
going to go to waste.
But it's like they were just setting up this point of like, damn, like White Tony died. Like this is like that's the neighborhood that they live in. Okay, so wait, I want to talk about A$AP Rocky's character.
Dom.
So basically, Dom is a gangbanger. I don't know.
He's a drug dealer.
He's one of the drug dealers.
They specify it's different between drug dealers and the bangers.
So it's like you can either go, there's a blood gathering happening, or you can go down the street with the drug dealer.
And the drug dealer is
that's still a gang, though, right?
No, the drug dealer is like technically like, I guess
he's not.
Well, no,
he's
but
not
like
slinging by himself.
But the idea was that that. I mean, well, sure, he runs with a crew of people, but the idea was that like
bangers,
one was the gang, one group was the
they
gang,
were more
and the
bangers than the Bloods were.
But that's what they were. But that's what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
They were just trying to separate that, like this.
Oh, okay. So basically, it seemed like to me they were young Bloods. It was like Bloods who weren't like in it.
Well, no, even the Bloods.
No,
the Bloods on the street were, but the thing is like they get
a video.
I know it's like the bangers are the ones that are like fighting over like turf and respecting turf.
Right.
The drug dealers are the ones just trying to make money. So the only time they're gonna
They
mess
got
with you
business.
if you messing with the money.
Right.
Yeah.
The banger is going to mess with you just if you like ain't from around the way.
Got it. You're
You
right.
know?
That's so okay. There you go. And so basically, he starts this relationship with him because he has to go this other way because the Bloods are down this street and they're blocking off their usual path home.
And they have his shoes in the video.
So-
his shoe,
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't even
they
want to
do.
peep it. His Jordan is in the video.
His Jordan's in the video. It's so, oh my God.
His
this
Jordan
movie
is in
so
the video.
smart and subtle.
That is so funny.
But they're like, I mean, like just the comment of like the Bloods are making a YouTube video
Yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah.
And they don't like, and the thing is, it's like, it just brings an extra level of depth. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
movies usually don't. They usually just like, those are the gangbangers. And and that they're painted in that light. But you don't see like gangbangers like making a YouTube video, like showing who they really are, which is like children.
Yeah, and the thing
You
is,
know what I mean? Like the mature factor is like way down.
yeah.
They're making a YouTube video with this holding a sneaker that they just stole from a freaking high school kid. And they go down the drug dealer street, and then there's one dude's like making him be a messenger basically to talk to Zoe Kravitz's character. What's her name in the
oh snap.
hold on.
She always gonna be Zoe to me.
I know.
She is Nakia.
Nakia. And he's basically just like, hey, tell her I say this. And then he goes and Zoe's like, tell him I said this.
Yeah.
And he's just like back and forth this funny thing. But basically he winds up going to the party, which sets everything in motion.
Zoe.
What I love about Asap's character, though, this is my favorite character in the movie.
I think
it's my favorite character. in the
Asap's
movie.
I think I agree.
Yes, I think he's so. I think
He has
he's
my
so
favorite
funny.
quote in the whole movie.
Which one?
that?
Wait.
Okay, so wait, can I just set the scene real quick because it's
Yeah,
so funny?
yeah.
He go to this party. They try to get in. They're like, nah, man, you all dudes. Oh, that's played by Tyga.
No, not that part.
Oh, no.
Tyga's the
No,
drug dealer who
Tyga's-
gets shot.
Oh, is he? I
The
thought
guy
Tyga
at
was
the guy at the door. No,
Who's
the
the
guy
guy
at the door is on the come up because he's in this movie and he's on Blackish now as like Anthony Anderson's
Right, his
assistant,
assistant, yeah.
which is a role that I'm like, that's such a good role on Blackish. He's so funny. He's funny in this movie. He calls him like "boys don't cry," and they're like,
Yeah, he's like,
Oh, you're right.
Bloods
Okay.
don't cry. Some
it's
shit.
this dude, Alan Maldonado.
yeah, he's so funny.
So funny. It's this dude, Alan Maldonado, was like at the door, well, sorry, we got a strict like dick to pussy ratio.
Yeah.
And unless one of y'all little niggas got a pussy, and then he's like, and then she's like, I do.
She's like, no man, y'all ain't
Wait.
gotta call yourself bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he goes.
She
This
flashed.
little. Wait, are you going? Are you about to say
She
this?
flashes him.
This little nigga's a bitch. This little nigga's a bitch is the line.
It is like the most offensive line, but it's so.
But he does it
funny.
in a way that's not stereotypical. And then like, because he's not trying to be hard, blah blah. He's
Nah.
just like,
Yo,
and
this
then
is crazy.
And then he's like, okay, yeah, I just gotta see some IDs. Oh, y'all don't got IDs? You ain't getting in. And then basically, but ASAP Rocky's character gets them in, and he's like, nah, man, I'm sorry, I can't let them in. I can't let you do that. I can't lose my license. And ASAP Rocky says literally one of the best lines in cinema, which is, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to everybody for cursing, but this line is too funny.
Oh snap!
This line is too funny. Actually, no, I'll let you say the last
He
part
just
of it.
apologized
goes-
for cursing, and now I'm gonna say the last.
So
Okay,
he's
I'll
just
say
gonna
it.
go. He goes, hey man, because he's like, I can't let you do it. I can't let them in. I can't lose my liquor license. And he just leans forward and goes, hey, I don't mind having this discussion with you. I actually enjoy the thoughtful exchange of ideas. But you put me in a bit of a spot, nigga. Because I can't have you back talking me in front of my niggas with at least effing your ass up. You feel me?
Yo,
Okay, he says, just for everyone who's to translate, he says,
Right.
fucking your ass up.
no,
He
what
says-
makes it even funnier? What makes it funny is in that part, he's like,
he says it's so calm.
he's
like,
so calm.
He's like, oh man, like I feel you. You know what I mean? I love the thoughtful exchange of ideas.
I
but-
actually, yeah, I love that line.
And
I'll
then he
take a note
also
on that
goes.
line.
Then he also goes like, "See, right now what we got is a slippery slope."
Yes, we got a
Does
slippery
anyone
slope.
does anyone here know what a slippery slope is?
And the one dude's like,
I mean, that's
Anything to do with skin.
like nigga. Like, he literally-
But then later, that same guy goes, I'm still fuzzy on the concept.
and then Shameik comes to hit him with the knowledge.
that's after Shameik like explains what a slippery slope, and he's like, this smart little nigga.
I mean, everything about it. And then even what's so funny is that A$AP Rocky Dom cock blocks Shameik later in the scene where like Shameik goes up to Zoe Kravitz and he's like, man, gotta teach these little niggas their manners, and like just puts his arm around it and just looks at him, like just looks at him,
And
like
then he's like, and then he just does a little nod.
yeah,
Gives
like
a little nod, like
get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what he said. That's basically what he said. He's like, get the fuck out of here, man. And he did it with a smile, bro. He did it with a smile.
It's so much
Loved
more
it.
powerful than the image that you usually see of like a gangster just trying to be as hard as they can and rough
Yeah,
it.
no.
Because to me, we literally watched this movie and I was like, damn, man, this is the difference when it's like black people making a film.
No, but it showed you the hard gangsters in it because there
are, yeah.
there's hard
Yeah.
gangsters and like so like since we're going ahead, like at that point, like the shootout happens and A$AP Rocky's character Dom pushed drugs and Shameik, what is Shameik Moore's name in the movie? What is his name in it? What's his name?
You're
Malcolm.
right.
Malcolm.
Tyga's the dude who's
Tiger's the one who gets
they're
shot.
they're talking about drones.
Okay, yeah, and that's what cemented how much I love this character because then he's like, but drones are, like he like has this opinion about drones.
Yeah.
Like it's like the people that get killed with drones are not like it's like this very thought out like.
But then the dumb drug dealer at that point goes like, oh, because then we get a slippery slope.
Right, yeah.
So then the drug dealer, so then the dumb one
But it's so
comes
funny.
back to
Even Tyga's response to him was
It's an
also
educated conversation.
somewhat educated. 'Cause
It's an
he was-
Oh, no, yeah,
he
it was
like,
great.
Yeah, but like he was like, yeah, but they knew what they signed up for. I mean, like if I'm a blood and I get killed by a Crip, you know what I mean? Like I know that's what it is.
Yeah,
like,
but then
they
he follows
messing
up with
the damn-
that this idea that like, but then what happens if they get mad and they just send drones over here? You know what I mean? Like we're dropping bombs on anybody. It's so great.
so
It's
they-
so great. the
Also
way
in
they
that
talk about it.
scene, what they hit you with, what they didn't even like really talk about, is cop violence. Because that wasn't another. I don't know when peeped it, but that wasn't another gang that shot up that governor.
See, I thought it was.
No,
No,
those are
I
I
cops.
thought it was gang and cops, but it was
That's
just
what I
cops.
thought too.
The
I
cops
couldn't-
came in. The people who shot Tyga,
Like a SWAT team?
The cops
The
came
cops.
in but they had ski masks on.
they came in with ski masks. But then when you see them downstairs, they're the SWAT team.
Well, I know
Oh,
a SWAT
man.
team comes in, but are we saying now that
The whole time it was
that
cops.
I thought it was
that
the cops
two
the whole
people-
time.
See, I did I wonder what it was a little bit fuzzy because I couldn't tell if the people because for a minute I thought the people with the
has
masks
to
are
be.
the two black dudes that are following them through the
Oh,
first
see, I
half of the
didn't
movie.
think that at
and
all.
that they just got out somehow.
But
maybe it is. Maybe it is.
But
And
he
somehow
goes.
the cops. I don't know how the cops
No.
showed up so quick though. That's what. Makes
That's
me
it. And
wonder.
they whoever it is arrests him immediately. Like the cops coming in from a whole other side arrest him immediately,
Well,
almost as if they
actually,
were tipped.
Now that they are tipped off, remember he says
somewhere
later
they're
on
tipped.
somebody snitched. So maybe it was those two dudes though, because it could have been they snitched. They came in right before the cops came in, blew them away, took the drugs because they wanted their own drugs, and then got Dom arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so crazy is that Don puts the weed in the bag, and the next day,
And it's not weed, yo.
no, it's not. So yeah, it's Molly.
like Molly.
It's Molly.
It's a harder Molly.
And then, like when Shameik Moore character, when Malcolm sees the drugs and the gun, like his reaction is so crazy and so big. But what makes it another thing this movie does great is just shows friendship. Like
Yeah.
the friendship between the three of them is so strong.
Yeah.
Chemistry in the
He runs away and they immediately follow him.
Yeah,
They
but-
immediately just drop what they're doing to like see what's happening.
to rock with him, yo.
Yeah.
And the thing is, at one point, like even before you get to that point when he runs out of the, he gets Zoe Kravitz, like Nakia out, and like they're calling for him, but they see him with her and peace out. Like they were like, oh, you know what,
yeah.
you good. Like that's what your boys,
Yeah.
that's what your folks do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like that is so cool to me. They were like, oh, at no point were they mad at him for liking her and doing that.
No.
They always supported him.
Even there's a moment in the movie where you think they're gonna break, but basically they're like, yo, this is too much. And Diggy's like, Diggy's.
Oh no, Diggy's the girl.
Who's the guy?
Oh, the guy is
Man, we gotta keep looking up these people's names.
Hope I got it here. I got it.
It's important. It's important.
It's important.
The thing is, when you look at it, the names are so out of order.
I
Like
know,
on
Jib.
IMDb.
His character's name is Jib, but Tony Revolori's character, Jib basically is like, nah, like, come on, man, like, I want to live.
Yeah.
He literally
I'm
is
trying to get a good
I'm
job.
trying to get a good job and help my mom out, And they're like, and then Diggy's like, hey, it was our idea to go to that party too. None of us protested it. Like, we're all in this.
It was
together.
Jib's idea to go to the party, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
and they're like, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, there's that loyalty there.
when he gets chased, they ride with him like, go faster, go faster. Oh, can I say my favorite? Like, since we're talking about A$AP and Dom, like when when Malcolm is on the phone, he gets the phone call from the hardcore drug dealer, the hardcore gangers who you see, which is crazy. You see like the calm ones, you see the hood ones, and they're like, "Yo, you got my lunch." And then he was like, and then Dom calls later on. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm about to deliver it." He's like, "Nigga, why the fuck you talking about sandwiches right now?" Like,
and then he goes, listen, McFly. They're not. He like calls him McFly, which I think is.
Oh wait, real quick though. Dom also throws out a diss to the Fresh Prince. I don't appreciate.
It's 2 Fresh Prince disses in this movie.
I didn't appreciate that.
Like they diss Fresh Prince hard.
Hey, dope. You hear me? I don't appreciate that.
You know,
I'm saying.
Don't tell me. Don't say the '90s had Fresh Prince like that's a bad thing.
But Malcolm defends him and says "Summertime" was a classic.
What's that? Did you write that line down where he was like, I love '90s rap, and then he references 2 things. He references Blueprint and what was the other one?
Blueprint and
it was something from the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
It's some from the 80s, and he gets checked
He's
on
like,
it so
nigga,
quick.
that's in that came out in
no,
88.
what was it?
Blueprint came out in 2001. What you talking about, nigga?
Yeah,
No,
but I love that because it's like
checks him so quick.
He immediately knows the exact years that both of those albums came out. Like
He's like, they're full of
he's
it.
like, no, this album came out this year. This album came out this year.
Because drug dealers can be smart.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like, so okay. The thing that we're just I know we're loving on this movie like pretty hardcore, but the reason that it's so amazing is that you're in. Everybody understands to an extent that black people aren't a monolith, right? Mm-hmm. Like outside of like the racist community, it's like we are like saying, hey, black people aren't just this one shared group, shared experience. We know that our history has that, so we feel a camaraderie towards other black people even when we don't know them. But every black person is different, and they have different opinions and different levels of intellect and differing levels of of passions and emotions and political views even. But this goes even deeper. It's like, okay, we know that black people aren't a monolith. Gangsters aren't a monolith.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, there are different gangbangers. Hey, the Bloods are different than these people who are selling drugs. Do you understand what that is? We're going to teach you about that. Hey, this dude Dom is a drug dealer who is smart, who like participates in violence, but also like knows some stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, like this kid who you think is the smartest one also BS's sometimes and is capable of things that are not so great. You know what I mean? Like, there's such a variety within this world that you normally would think of as like, well, I know black people aren't a monolith, but these are those type of black people.
I mean, what this thing does is like what all those mob movies does, where it humanizes mobsters, right?
Yeah.
This movie shows you every aspect of the projects. You know what I'm saying? It shows you every type of black person, every type of person they deal with. It shows you their interactions with white people. Like, I mean, they're a drug dealer they met in band camp. You know what I'm saying? Who they won't let say the N-word if they smack them in the face. Right. It's like, that's a thing. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, what's so interesting is that when you think about like the Indian community and the Latino community, as black people, we allow them to say the N-word. Like, we feel a connection with them because of their skin color and because of what they have to go with. And in this movie, they literally address why Jib can say it, but the white guy can't say it. I mean, it's literally addressed. And even when they try to give the white dude a pass, Dickie's like, nah, it's a reflex. I still don't like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Still have to slap you.
They even talk about without talking about the difference.
Actually, but just to point out though, it's just Diggy who doesn't like him saying that. The other two are cool with it.
They were cool with it because they needed him. Because at first, when they had the flashback, none of them liked it. But when he was like, man, whatever.
Well, it's because like they're just first meeting.
Yeah, and they were like, man, whatever, let's just, because basically like, they needed him to get the Bitcoin set up. It's like, yeah, man, whatever, just say it. And like, Diggy was like, nah, still I don't like it. Right. But it's like, they even address the fact that, what is his name? Jaleel, Lily's brother, who acts super hard from the suburbs. They address the fact that he's from the suburbs and the fact that he's light skinned at one point. You know what I'm saying? When they come in, he has his hair like in like a little bonnet. It's like, yo, this movie is so cool.
So
man.
basically, we go from that party. They have the drugs. There are these people chasing after him. They get away from them, and they get to. They're supposed to be finding this guy, AJ. So they get to this house where he's supposed to be, and like this dude Jaleel. Played by Quincy Brown, who's also amazing.
Yeah, that's Diddy's son.
That's
Diddy's son. Like this movie right here, I don't know if people know this, was produced by like Diddy. Pharrell did the music for it. Like heavy hitters was involved with
the
this.
other thing is too, like, the writing is so good, and like everybody, it shows. To me, it also shows how like really great writing can get out really great performances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like these people, all of these actors were given a chance to shine so bright because they had a script that was so good and allowed them to do something that was a little bit probably closer to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least allow them to be funny and like charismatic in a way that they would not have been if the script wasn't that good. But so much with thought. The guy who directed it also wrote it, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Rick, how do we figure
We
out?
tried. We tried to learn how to pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Famuyiwa. Oh, that's definitely wrong.
I mean, we tried.
It's
so sorry.
FAMUYIWA.
We tried. I mean, the script.
You tried.
WA?
This script was so good because I mean, even Chanel Iman. Shout out Chanel Iman.
Okay, so she's the sister.
She's the sister
who, like, in the background is just
who's
taking off clothes.
just zeroing in on Malcolm, just focused.
Just so naked and so.
That's what's so funny is that's ASAP's ex. So they
really?
shot this movie when they were dating, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I have no random facts about
but anyway,
this movie.
so he's like, so basically Quincy is like, Jaleel is like, this
those
character
fake
who's
gangsters.
just, he's a fake gangster because his dad is actually, we find out, is a drug dealer. And so he's like, he kind of like is somewhat involved, in that, but he hasn't faced like the actual hardships because he's lived with money.
But you know what,
for all
though?
of his
He's
life.
like, my heart. What is
Yeah,
He's like,
my heart is there in the what do you think? What was the nickname they call it?
even though I'm right here, my heart is there.
Yeah, but like my body is just
It's just
here.
it's here.
It's like, yo, shut up. Dude. And they make fun of him too because he can't say certain.
He can't
like,
say cereal.
Yo, they
he
make-
has to-
oh,
yeah.
He replaces he
said-
replaces
I'm
soft
such a-
C's with B's.
Because he said he's a blood and he hates Crips so much.
that he doesn't
So
say
he
C's.
replaces C's with B's because he says burial.
Just like burial.
But then they're like, but you just said
Yeah, but you just said
it.
this other C word.
these are like hard C word. Can't. You just said can't.
And
Yeah,
he's like,
I can't. You
And
just
he's
said
like,
can't.
and he's like, fuck y'all. Fuck all y'all. Like, he gets
Say
so
it's on a
wait.
case by case basis.
I was in a
Why
good
not a
mood.
base by
Why
base?
not a base by base?
like I was in a good mood before y'all got here. Like it's
And
so
then they
good.
start singing their song.
It's cool.
Which is dope.
It's
this
boo.
song.
Yo,
this
their
song
song
is a
is so
banger.
cute.
This song is a banger, y'all.
But okay, so and then they take. Then he. We're gonna explain this entire movie. But
I know, we're literally
one of my
gonna be
favorite.
with
you. We
One of
have
my
to.
favorite lines though is that when he takes them to to get like chili fries, and then the other gangsters find them, and they're like, hey, give us our lunch, and he's like, hey man, we about to order lunch. You can order after us. And he's like, stop screwing around, nigga. Give us our lunch. And he's like, okay. And he pulls out his gun and he's
Yeah.
like, first we're gonna order our lunch, then you can have your lunch.
right?
But you can get your lunch or whatever.
Your
Your
lunch.
lunch or whatever. But it's so
Get your lunch.
But what's so dope about it, before you get that, is he goes and calls the maid, and he wants her to get it, and she literally laughs at him
just
and
laughs
walks
and
out.
walks
He talks
away.
at her in Spanish and she just laughs at him
and walks out.
away.
Like, I mean, the movie's so cool because then at that point, Chanel Iman Lily comes back. First off, it's so funny because they show you how drugs get named almost in this movie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They kind of show you
least
how it goes down.
yeah.
Like, Molly, they show you white women, this is not to be offensive, but they know, like, this tells you how they call it that white girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, like, how do these things come to be? Because, like, Lily.
No offense, though.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not trying to say it to be offensive, but like, they call Coke that white girl. You know what I'm saying? They, whatever. But you see, Lily gets high off of the Molly, right? But this Molly is so good that Lily
She goes crazy
runs
and
around
then
the street
pees.
and then pees for which they make sure a long time.
Yeah.
Well, my man
A
can't
long
eat.
pee.
My man can't
After
eat his
thinking
cornbread.
she could drive,
Yo, that whole little scene.
she thought she
dude.
could drive.
And then he let her drive.
He let her drive. And that whole scene with the guy doing the interview, and he's like, "I tried." Wait, he didn't say cornbread though. He
It was
said
his cornbread.
muffin.
It was a cornbread, right?
No, he was. It wasn't cornbread. It was.
Was it a muffin?
My pound cake.
Pound cake.
How am I supposed to eat my pound cake?
I'm trying to eat my pound cake. I'm in Starbucks ordering a pound cake, and then he also like looks at the white news correspondent. He's like, "How you doing?" Like,
Yeah.
he like does a little like up and down like look, and I was just like, "Who is this dude?" But it made every character have depth, even when you only saw them.
But it
for
was
5
stuff you
seconds.
meant. And then he talks to his man off camera. Hey, when y'all gonna edit this? I'm trying to get a cut of this tape.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
Like, and then they remix that. Then they remix that into one of those songs like people normally do. You know what I'm saying? When people remix the news all the time.
I'm in the hood.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man, this movie is so.
The reason he's in this car and the reason she jumps out is so that he can go to his interview. He has this alumni interview with someone who's an alum from Harvard.
Harvard.
But he's also from the projects.
But he's also from the projects. And we realize we get there and we realize that this guy is AJ. Like, this alumni is this drug dealer.
Yes, this alumni who's having an interview with, who's going to help him get into Harvard, is the guy AJ that he was supposed to give the drugs to, and then basically he tells
and he
him,
immediately tells him.
He's like I'm supposed to give drugs to you. You know, D. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because he sees the photos. Because he sees the photos of Dom.
But like
the kid.
In that moment though, like the balls that must take. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, but the thing is, he had no choice though. He had.
But exactly.
Yeah, he had no choice.
I don't even know if I would have been able to muster it.
I mean, he has balls in the film.
Well, thing is,
that
this
dude. Okay,
but this film shows him. This film shows him have fear though. So like, it was courage that he had to have though. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
Shameik like, you saw him nervous all the way through this movie. But what the thing is that we haven't touched on, and this movie almost was like, it was a caper almost. I mean, you think about it. At the end, like, the whole time he's talking to this dude, the whole time he's dealing with this dude, we come to find out. The reason I'm trying to rush this is because we're going really long, and we're only halfway through it. It's like
So you just cut it right to the end?
No, but I'm saying, like,
this is the moment that changes the whole movie.
Can we at least talk about this moment real quick?
I'm saying this moment in particular when he's talking to the drug dealer. I mean, the drug dealer.
Yeah.
It's like he realizes like this dude is putting him in a predicament where he has to figure this out.
He has to sell drugs. Basically, he talks this whole thing about Amazon, which is such a funny scene too, where he's just like Amazon.
But he's like Amazon still orders albums.
I don't order. I would never order that album. I wouldn't order an album off of Amazon. He's like, oh my god.
But he's like, but you do understand that Amazon still sells records. Like, he's like, you do realize
understand they can deliver records.
He's so creepy.
Yeah.
He's so creepy
because he's very matter of fact. Because he's like, because what he says is he's like, no one forced you to do this.
Yes, this is the part I did want to talk about.
He's like, no one forced you.
He said, no, you had a choice.
But the thing is,
he's like, no, you did have.
But it's like, bruh, you acting like you haven't been doing this to people for years.
But isn't it crazy though?
You know what I mean?
Isn't like, but even that idea, I was like, because that's what people say all the time. They're like, yeah, but you know what? They still had a choice. Like, you can tell me the sob stories and this and that, but like, you had a choice. And he's saying that to him. And there's a part of you that's like, he did, but like,
no,
what kind of a choice? Did he
but Shameik
have?
looks at him because he's like, this choice was, and what Dom says to him on the phone is like, they're going to take those drugs and they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And you're like, so what you tell him is like, he either has to run or die. Like, those are the choices people have.
He had no.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
the only choice he had was to
like,
get rid of that.
He had a choice, but the choice was like, do you stand up for what's right and then literally die and throw away your life for it? Like, or do you try to like get, you know what I mean? So it's like,
exactly.
What choice are we giving people?
Yeah, and he weighs the options because he's like, because was it? Jib says, oh, just go to the cops. And he's like, are you crazy? He's like, if I go to the cops, Dom is already in jail. They're going to know I sold him out and they're going to come after me. Like, he weighs every option. Go to the cops. Do you give the drugs to the Bloods or do you run? And the safest was to run. And the thing is, I feel like what this movie does so well is that it shows situations that people in the hood have to go through. These choices that people shouldn't have to make, but they have to. Like, this is a good kid who probably has never been in trouble. And now all of a sudden he has a bunch of Molly on him in the rare form. Like, he doesn't even have bottled Molly right now. He doesn't even have pills.
The powder.
He has the powder.
So basically, they have this whole scheme where they sell the Molly online through Bitcoin. You know, blah blah. This to me, this was like it was like cool, but it was like the slowest part of the film for me. It was like, this is the part where they dragged just a tad for me, but it was still like the idea was like very cool. And so they sell all the drugs, and basically they come they have that moment where we talking about where the Bloods like get them and they're gonna steal the money, but he has the gun, and so he gets it back, and it's over, and he goes back to AJ, and like basically we find out that he's like set it up in a way that AJ can't do. If he does anything to him, then
the money's going to be traced back.
The money's going to be traced back to AJ. So he like gets himself out of this whole predicament.
But this movie does touch on one thing. Is like,
is there anything else?
It's funny because I usually hate, I usually go on rants about movies about rappers when black people have to play drug dealers or rappers. And technically in this movie, Shameik plays a drug dealer, which is very interesting because he may not have wanted to, but he does. And then he continues to do it.
Yeah, that's the last thing that I want to talk about is, do you guys feel like this is a black movie?
I do in the best way possible.
Right? Yeah, right.
I take, like, for instance, like I know sometimes we always say like black films we don't want to review, like, but like I take for some reason I took pride in this movie. It's like this kid was smart. He made a decision on his own, and the thing is, when he did it, he kind of brought up a good point. What's the difference between this kid doing this and the white kids in the suburbs selling coke? The ones who are like, what's the difference between this and like have those Wall Street dudes who steal from like poor people? It's like, this is a cool movie, so we see another type of person.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Do you guys think that this movie was targeted towards like a black audience? And if so, or if not, even if it's not, do you think black audiences appreciated this film as much as like the stereotypical black?
I don't know. I mean, I think I could sit down and watch this movie with I always just talk about my family because that's the that's my black.
Your black family.
That's your black.
It's my black family. I feel like I could sit down and watch this movie with my family. I think that they would love it. I also think that like a lot of my cousins would like this movie and think that this movie was dope. I mean, like as far as like this is not that typical. It's not the typical like we're trying to reach a mass audience kind of movie when we think about black movie in that sense, right? Like it's not that kind of a movie. It's a little more offbeat than that, but yeah, I think this is a movie for us by us. But also for everybody.
I think it's for everybody. Like I don't think, like for instance, I don't think this is. I think what he did was they made an indie coming of story like that always happens at Sundance, and it just happens to star black people. And I think that's really cool because, I mean, how often do we get to see the inner workings of a drug dealer that's not super hood, the gangster that you feel bad for,
right? But
to that effect, I do know some of my friends from back home who don't like this movie because they
for what reason?
I know some of my friends don't like the ending. They feel like mostly everyone complains about the ending that I know because of his monologue about the two students, and some feel like it's forced. And then there's almost, which I didn't know until someone brought it up to me, the imagery of him with the hoodie on, which kind of touches back to like Trayvon Martin and things like that.
People don't like that.
Well, because it's kind of that thing of this movie. I only can speak. I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Some people feel like this movie didn't earn that monologue.
Sure, I agree. I agree because it doesn't feel like the movie is about that until that moment, and then you watch it and then you go, "Oh, I guess the whole movie's been about this." I guess, right? I mean, right?
Yes and no. Like the movie is mainly a comedy, is what I'm saying, and then it's not really preaching at you. It's in fact, it's doing things in a very smart way, but. It thinks that it tells its audience, hey, we believe you're smart enough, except for the end and actually the beginning. The beginning of the movie starts out with dope and explains the definitions of what the word dope means in a way that I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, that's a little corny. I was like, my initial thought was like, you don't need to explain the title of your movie to me. Like, I understand that dope means cool and dope also means drugs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to set that up.
Yeah.
But I think the reason it has those bookends and then the super smart, like, super aware, relevant film all between those little tiny bookends, it's like, I feel like this movie was marketed towards a wider audience than just black people. Like, I feel like the film was made by black people. It wanted black people to see it. But then it also was like, we are expecting white people to see this too. And when they do see it, we need them to understand, like, what we were talking about in case they missed it.
Yeah.
Like, in case
and
you
hard,
miss it.
And it's hard, too,
there
because...
is a meaning to this film more so than just you making laugh-em-ups at, like, white Tony getting shot.
Right. No, but exactly. And, like, and it's a shame, or it's unfortunate, not a shame. It's unfortunate that, like, some people then see that ending and then go, oh, I can't even deal with this movie. But I do think
I think that's super unfair.
You know, but I do think that that is, it's definitely part of it in a way. But then at the end, that is what the movie is about, which is like different, you know, like I then sort of, I don't know, you then sort of start to feel like, oh, I guess all the fun that I was having isn't really fun. You know, you know what I mean? I don't know if
the movie doesn't end on that note, though. It like there's a good 8 minutes after that whole thing, after his essay, because then you see him at the the
but
dance.
like the thing with the hoodie that I did want to say though is like you do sort of feel. I was just thinking about that. Do you remember that that hashtag that was going around? If they gunned me down. Oh, do you remember that?
Yeah, man.
The like, which picture would they use?
Yeah.
And I had just seen one, going through. I had just seen one right before watching the movie again. So then at the end, like there's the scene where like he pulls the gun, and then you're like, oh man, shoes on the other foot. In that moment, it becomes very clear. And then not too long after that is him doing this new essay, and then like it becomes more poignant in that way. And so I do think that like I don't think that it's like forced necessarily to do it, but it does sort of feel those ending parts do feel somewhat different than what we had been watching.
Which I'm fine with, because the thing is, I feel like when this movie came out, not when it came out, but probably when they were making it, the Trayvon Martin verdict had come out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like at that point, I mean, it was Trayvon Martin. Oh my God. There's like, I'm trying to think, there was so many deaths after Trayvon Martin. I mean,
If They Gun Me Down was inspired by Michael Brown, though, right?
Yeah,
Specifically.
Because Michael Brown, the photo they chose of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, everyone has that. Like, everyone has that thing. You try to, like, be playful. Like, how many of your white friends always have, like, I'm going to look hard and gangster in the photo? I'm pretty sure if they got shot, it's always going to be the photo of them reading the book. Whereas the black person, the moment you don't smile in the photo, that's the photo.
That's the one.
CNN putting that photo in.
Yeah, that's the one.
But with this,
all right.
But that's the thing, though. But the thing about this movie, though, is even with that ending, I think it works because I felt like it still referenced this kid. I think
it's not. It is nice.
To me, I know who they were trying to reach with that ending. Like,
I agree,
and I'm like, and those people need to hear it, and they need to hear it, and they're not going to unless you're like, hey,
listen to this.
You really enjoy this film, right? Like, you need to listen to this for a second.
I love it.
All right, great. Let's go back to the movie and let's end it. That being said, this movie didn't have a swirl.
No, it didn't have a swirl. But you know what? But you know what?
What?
You know what I think this movie should have had? This movie should have had a scene with me and Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, please don't do this.
You know, I feel like this scene.
I thought you were going to do...
This segment shows up every now and again.
No, you should have done that with Diggy. But no, you're going to do Jerah and Zoe.
No, listen, let me tell you why.
This segment shows up every now and again. I think I like it.
Because the thing is, if I could pick, like in real life, the type of woman I love, it is Zoe Kravitz is the embodiment of that.
What happened to Tessa Thompson?
Tessa Thompson's beautiful. I mean, she's great. But I just love that edge of Zoe.
Type of woman.
Like Zoe. So this is my thing. So I think there should have been a scene, right? I think there should have been a scene. So at the end of the movie,
women you could turn off.
Like no, listen to this. It's gonna be wonderful. So at the end of the movie, right? Like when Malcolm is now in his drug dealer persona, he comes back and knocks on Nakia's door, and if she doesn't answer, he like puts a letter under the door, like the ticket to his prom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm there. My character's
just pans out and suddenly a new character is here.
Wait.
She doesn't come to the door because you're there.
No, wait. She there. But then, like, she's sad. And then, like, all of a sudden, you see DeAndre. That's my name. DeAndre.
Why?
DeAndre goes to the door.
Why?
DeAndre
don't like this.
Oh, hit me out. DeAndre goes to the door. Opens the door, picks up the letter. Nah, bro, she good. I respect her already. Closes the door again. Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Closes the door again. Closes the door
Why
again.
did you have such a deep voice?
Because I'm trying to let him know. Trying to let him know what's happening
my
right now.
God.
Because this is the thing about Zoe's character. Like, she said she ain't like them type of niggas. You know what I'm saying? She wanted somebody that was, different. So DeAndre,
Oh my God.
what DeAndre does, DeAndre goes to USC. Okay, DeAndre studies film at USC. So the whole time they go back into the apartment. He realized they got books and they got films. So she's doing her work and he's doing his work side by side. Then all of a sudden she's like, man, I thought he had hope. Talking about Malcolm. He's like, yeah, you can't save them all. And then we had that moment we
Can't save them all.
Then we had that moment. We turn, we look at each other's eyes, and I'm like, you ain't gotta save me. That's my line. That's my line to Zoe. Then she's like, I know. And then she presses the remote control, and then Siri plays some rock music because Zoe like that rock music. You know what I'm saying? It plays like some what is it called? It plays Method Man and Limp Bizkit because you can rap and rock. And then we passionately make love right there on the floor.
Why is it Limp Bizkit?
Because I wanted to combine her real life persona with the rap in the movie. So I feel like that's a good blend too.
Enough of that.
So why you gotta say enough of that, man?
I mean, honestly,
what if she made out to Lenny Kravitz?
Oh, that'd be so weird.
honestly,
No,
enough of that.
no, that's weird. Bro, like, what's happening to you, man?
I feel like enough of that.
I feel like slowly throughout this podcast,
I don't know what's happening.
the series of this Braylock has slowly been turning to the dark side this whole time. Man,
Oh shit! All right, we should wrap this up.
Yeah, we should wrap this up.
Why did you say that? Like,
you got nothing, dude. You ain't got nothing. You have no movie to say right now.
yeah.
The movie Bait, though. The movie Bait starring Jamie Foxx. No, just like real quick. It's a movie that like about someone who like doesn't realize that he's
movie Bait.
Well, he was a robber and he was trying to get the prongs.
yeah. The movie Bait.
What?
It's a
What
movie about
it?
someone who like like he's a criminal. Like if he is a criminal, but then later in the movie he has a change. He is released and he doesn't
stop?
He doesn't think that he's a criminal anymore.
I didn't like Jamie Foxx's fro
So
in
he
that movie.
thinks he's doing something else.
Remember his fro? His fro was so bad in that movie. Oh goodness, that was such
Great.
a bad
Enough
movie.
of that.
But it.
Let's get
We've
to
already
let's get
spent
to
way too much time on this,
let's
this segment.
Let's get to the cause.
No, but
man.
Bait.
Though
Braylock, set up the cause, man. No bait. No
the
bait.
movie Bait, though. Okay, it's time for the cause. We review films not based on how well we think they did critically or how much we like them personally, but how much they help the cause of more leading black actors in Hollywood. We give it either a black fist, meaning it fully helped the cause, a white palm, meaning it was so-so, or nothing. Ready?
Oh, also, can I just say one thing? For the last couple of movies, James has not picked the right thing.
Yeah.
How about you get your life together, James?
Also, what if we threw him off?
I don't give a
snap.
fuck.
Okay.
All right, here we go. On the count of
I don't
three,
give
we're
a
closing our
fuck.
eyes.
All right, count of three. You gonna start 3, 2, 1, or 1, 2, 3?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Are you gonna start at
1,
Shoot, he's starting.
2,
All right.
3.
There we go. I knew that was coming.
That's not even pretend.
I know.
It's 3 black fists.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Usually, I'll start.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't give films, FUBU films, black fist. One, I don't actually think this was a FUBU.
It's not though, right?
I don't
Because
think
literally,
any-
there's a message at the end that's like,
Yeah.
"If I was white,
Yeah,
would you
it's
talk
like
to me?"
clearly talking to white people.
But also,
it's like so obviously like, hey, yo, white people in the theater, listen up.
yeah, but also it's
Yo,
okay.
black people keep chilling for a
Boo
second.
boo films that we're not crap like.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I
fine.
think
Like-
we've made it clear that we
it's
actually
true.
we love movies.
We love movies.
so long as we
and
think
also
they're good.
even though this film, it has what quote unquote the stereotype role, it portrays those roles in such a nuanced way that it actually isn't a stereotype because it's showing people that first of all, even gangbangers aren't a monolith. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know why people get into the drug ring. It's not excusing it. It's not saying that it's right. But, the film clearly shows, like, gang violence is horrible. It shows a person die from it. You know what I mean? It shows many people die from it, actually. It shows the harm that comes from it. But it also is like, it's more complicated than you think. And to just write off a whole section of society and act like they have as much choice as you do to not enter a life of crime is wrong. And then the movie does all that by being literally one of the funniest films I've ever seen. Like, there are so many funny moments in this movie. And the real reason that I'm giving it a fist is because so many actors shine because the script is so freaking good. I cannot believe it didn't get it nominated for an Academy Award. It should have won. Anyway, it's so good that it makes so many actors shine. Literally, I was like, oh, we have to look up these people's names. You know what I mean? All of them. Shameik Moore, Tony, Kiersey, freaking A$AP Rocky, even Blake Anderson, Quincy Brown, all those. Oh, Rick Fox! We got to give a shout out to Rick Fox.
Oh, yeah, he was in it. Cameo,
What's up, Rick? Yo,
Rick Fox?
We're going to do our podcast, man.
Yeah, Rick, where you at, Rick?
Yo,
Yeah,
Rick.
He told us on multiple occasions that he would do our podcast.
Has he been in New York?
Rick.
No, I don't think he's been in New York yet.
He hasn't. But anyway, Rick Fox was in it for like one moment, but even his line where he was like, see, where they're literally doing drugs in the corner, they're like, see, this shows that the school,
The system is working.
the system is working. There's still a ladder to success.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this movie's dope, pun intended, and Black Fist.
You want to go next? Let me go next. I'll go next.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with everything Braylock just said.
Of course you do.
It's just, to me, and guys, literally, I usually hate when models, rappers in movies. I usually hate when black people are playing drug dealers. Yeah, and I hate when people are playing drug dealers.
But it's not just that.
It's not. And the thing about this movie is that's so touching to me is that it shows a black geek from the projects.
Uh-oh.
And that's so cool because it's like, when you see, I mean, like, I grew up.
Jerah seeing himself in the movie.
Yeah, like I grew up, I read comics on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? And people do make fun of you. And if you're that black geeky, like, if you're like that black geeky kid, you got to do something else. You either better be funny, because if you ain't funny, you can get your ass whooped. You better be super smart, because if you're super smart, you're always in after school activities, so you don't have to go home or don't have to get out of there. And it's like, to see this movie touch on that kid and the fact of some of the things that they said, like white kids liked that they did, was like, get good grades, like Donald Glover. You know, like,
For doing white shit.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And
that's
for liking white shit.
which is so cool to see, though. Which is so cool to see because at the end of the day, this kid still loved his mom. You know, you saw the scene. It was a brief scene.
Oh,
You saw
Kimberly
the scene.
Elise, real quick. Shout out to Kimberly Elise.
Yeah.
We didn't say anything about you this whole
She's
movie.
a bus driver. She had a
has
great
like
scene
7 lines. She's
where
amazing.
She was like, I just see the road.
Yeah, and she wasn't fearful when the gangsters came in. And I feel like this movie did a good job portraying this female's characters. Like, even Lily served a purpose in this movie. Like, I know, she was half naked. She was like on drugs, but she served a purpose. Diggy showed you like one of the first times I've seen a black lesbian in a big movie since Queen Latifah and Set It Off.
Yeah, should have did a swirl scene with her, but yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's so funny is that this is one of the first movies that I didn't want to really change anything. Like, I was just so satisfied. Like, to add a swirl, I felt like would be forcing a movie that I just thought was so great. And the mere fact that the drug dealer, Bug, right? The fact that the drug dealer who picks on, the bang who picks on him the whole time, taking his shoes. You know what I'm saying? You know how many times I had my shoes threatened to be taken from me, man? I had one pair of Jordans, bro. Like, one pair to my mom
messed up.
a long time to get. And me and my boy got in a fight at a corner store because we had on uniforms over like our shoes and like the fact that we had on uniforms. And there's like this dude, I felt bad for the dude trying to take his shoes.
Remember that episode of Family Matters where what's her name gets shot?
we remember that episode
Yeah,
of Family
bruh.
Man. I think about that all day,
All
son.
the time.
Like,
that comes back to me all the
Haunted
time.
me.
Man, I wish everybody in this movie the best of luck, man. Go see Neighbors. Watch the Get Down. Go see Spider-Man. Support these people, man. A$AP had an album that came out 2 months ago. Go get that jump.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody said, but I think that like what Jerah was just talking about growing up is like being a black nerd, right? And seeing that specifically represented in the movie, I think I definitely identified with that a lot.
The dinosaur movies you watch.
Oh man, bruh.
They used to come home and James watch
They used to
dinosaur
call
movies.
me Earth Boy.
Dinosaur movies?
Sorry, not dinosaur movie, dinosaur TV
I used
shows.
to be called
Wait,
Earth Boy
that
when I
show.
was a kid.
Are you talking about
Guys,
that?
we don't have to. I'm talking about Dope right
What's
now.
it called? The
sitcom?
Lost. It's like some. What's it called? The Lost
I used
World.
to watch. All right, no, fine.
The dinosaur
fine. Fuck
sitcom?
the cause.
No,
Primeval. Okay, is a show I used to love. The Lost World, that TV show. I used to really like that show.
Braylock, when I say
Land
this
of
is
the
a bad
Lost,
show,
Land of the Lost, the Nickelodeon
So sorry
version.
that we did this to you.
Hey, y'all did it. I was talking
All right.
about Dope.
You're right.
Y'all did
right,
it.
that's my
I
fault.
was
That's my
talking
fault.
about
Go
Dope.
back to Dope.
That's my.
But the thing that I really want to say about this is it's a very well made movie about black culture. And it does not feel preachy until it is until that
one moment
but
they
it's
preach directly at you.
but the thing about it also though is it's not like you're like, where does this come from,
Right.
because the movie opens with this idea of like, you need to change your college essay. So like even that feeling like, oh man, now I'm being preached to. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's not
yeah,
like-
you're kind of
I think
supposed to
it's
feel
earned.
that
I think
you're
it's
kind of
earned.
supposed to be like, oh god, ugh, because it is uncomfortable and because it is, but this is real shit and it talks about real shit and I think it's great. I just want to talk about my favorite scene real quick. This is another reason I gave it a fist. I know we're done, but when he's on the bus. And
my God.
the song is
scene.
playing and he sees everyone from his journey get on the bus.
Director.
And it's just like it's like a beautiful
And they're all looking at it.
and they all look. It's great. And even White Tony is in.
Yeah, White Tony's on the
If you
bus.
look close, White Tony's on the bus, and everyone's all connected, and there's a reason that they're all connected, and it's like this beautiful fucking thing. Anyway, I
they're
usually
all
don't.
so different.
Yeah, they're
this-
they're all so different, but they all belong there. It's not like it's not hitting you over the head at all. It's just a very well made film. So that's why I gave it a fist.
This movie showed black people with layers and different varieties, and it didn't pass judgment. They didn't make people look like saints. They didn't make them look like sinners. They just showed people dealing with everyday life. And my God, how rare is it that we see this, man?
dope.
It's so rare. I mean, it's so rare that a movie is this good, first of all, and it's so rare that this movie is this good with an all black cast that isn't just like this hard home like thing about slavery or
Dude, man.
this movie isn't even really about gangs. You know what I mean? It's not. It's not like what's that movie? Oh God, Boys in the Hood. I mean, it is, and
It's about the
You know
people
why?
dealing-
Because even the scene where he says like, you had a choice. No one ever says like, you don't walk a certain path. Like no one says any lines like that. You know what I mean? There's no like this is bad, this is good. It's it's gray area the whole time.
so much gray.
You know?
All right. Sorry for the long episode, but this movie is great.
I'm not sorry.
I'm not even
Not sorry.
Please,
Sorry. We ain't sorry about it.
please go watch
Get back
this
in
movie,
my black
man.
voice. Code switch that joint up.
Please watch this movie. If y'all don't think it's good, tweet at us, go on Facebook, let us know.
Yeah, no, cool.
No.
I love. No, I'm saying no,
you're
but
right,
let's
you're right.
let us know how you feel about it.
Let us
'cause
know how you feel about it.
this
We'll
movie,
argue back at you.
Yeah, we'll tell you that you're wrong and that you need to go watch it again.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Time for some plugs.
Please.
All right, it's time for some plugs. This is Jonathan Braylock in the studio by himself, like it's meant to be. Just kidding. So here we go. First of all, you can follow us at Black Men Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Also, Black Men Can't Jump Podcast on Facebook. Hit us up, tweet at us, let us know where you're from, anything you feel about the movies. Movies that you want us to do. Just, we pretty much get back to most people. So, yeah, just let us know. We love hearing from you. Rate and review us on iTunes. Give us that 5 stars. Leave a review. Help spread the word. Or like whatever podcast device that you listen to. Android people. All right. You can go to blackmenpodcast.com to check out our show dates. For instance, May 22nd, we are a part of New York City Podfest. That's a Sunday, May 22nd, 3 p.m., where we will be reviewing the film Kazam, starring Shaquille O'Neal. That's right. It's going to be awesome. So please come out to that. Tickets are only $5, so you really have no excuse if you live in the New York City area. Speaking of shows, I'm going to plug a personal show. I got a showcase coming up May 18th That is a Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Magnet Theater. It's actually free. If you are available, come on out. It's a showcase, a character showcase, so just come on out to that. You can follow me at John Braylock on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. That's right, I changed it. I changed my Snapchat handle. It's at John Braylock now. John Braylock. All right, JONBRAYLOCK. JohnBraylock.com for shows and videos and all that good stuff. James Third Comedy, you can follow him, James 3RD Comedy. That's right. I remember how to spell it now, even though it's a dumb spelling. James 3RD Comedy on Twitter, Instagram, on his website. I think he's got a show coming up in June. I'm not plugging the exact date because that's ridiculous. Jerah, he's on Twitter now, like at Jerah Milligan or something, and Jerah M on Snapchat. And I don't know if he has Instagram. He doesn't know what he's doing sometimes, but follow him. And I think that's it for the plugs. Next week, we will be reviewing the film Traitor, starring Don Cheadle. Traitor came out in 2008. If you haven't seen it, go check it out and come back and listen to us next week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
That was a HeadGum podcast.